today to deliver what Toastmasters tells them that they're going to get, right? So that's why we're here. So we just showed you the values and the mission. You'll notice that this is your club quality chart. I made it a little more reader-friendly than it showed up. You'll see the foundation of Toastmasters, your mission, and your values. Now, the infrastructure of our Toastmasters clubhouse, if you will, experiential learning, peer feedback, self-paced program, and mentorship. Isaac, give me an example of experiential learning. What does that mean to you?
Basically, do it and you learn something.
Do it and you learn something from it. Right. One of the things we talked about in my club last week was for the leadership track, there's Competent Leader, one of your first manuals. Ever heard of that? Competent Leader? What's the second leadership manual?
There isn't one.
There isn't one. Why not?
It's projects.
It's projects, right? Because it's difficult to get leadership out of a book. You can learn leadership theory, but you have to actually apply leadership. Isn't that right? So we have experiential learning. These are our roles and things like that. Peer feedback. Terry, tell me about peer feedback. What does that look like in our meetings? It is Terry, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Peer feedback is, I guess, and I'm taking a guess off my head here, is the feedback that you get from your members.
Absolutely.
On projects.
Yep. Other members. Toastmasters, people have said, I have heard in Toastmasters, maybe you have too, that Toastmasters is a safe place to fail. I changed that a little bit. I think Toastmasters is a safe place because I don't think there's failure if you're putting yourself up there and trying to improve yourself, right? I think everybody shows up to Toastmasters with the goal of self-improvement. That's what I think. So Valerie, what do we do for mentorship in Toastmasters? What does that look like?
And as a new member, you can request a mentor or one can be assigned to you, but at our club, we like to look at mentorship as it's a great idea to have as many mentors as you want. So if you see somebody in the club or in life that's doing something that you want to learn from them, engage in some sort of mentorship relationship with them.
Absolutely. Valerie, thank you for that. As an example of what Valerie's talking about, Valerie and I were talking this morning. She's got some skills that I can learn. We're going to link up after Toastmasters. That's an example of mentorship that I've sought out and she's willing to provide, right? And that's what we're talking about with mentorship. So it doesn't just happen in meetings. In fact, you probably don't have time for deliberate mentorship in meetings if you're going off of your agendas. So it's important to stay outside of meeting hours. Self-paced program. If you guys don't know, Amber Lowry is one of our newest members. She's been a member of Toastmasters for about 10 minutes. She's with me at Scott Air Force Space Club. Amber, what is this? What do you think a self-paced program looks like?
I set my own pace. If I want to be very aggressive in my leadership path, I can. Being the Toastmaster of the day.
Yeah, that's right.
First week of membership.
The first meeting Amber attended as a member, she was the Toastmaster of the day. She stepped up, she said, I want this, I want to volunteer for it, showed some initiative, and she got after it. She's leading from the front, which we really appreciate. And so, thank you all for that. So you'll see, I talked about the infrastructure of these 4 areas. Well, the mortar that holds it all together is the moments of truth. And we're going to talk about the moments of truth here next. In fact, my lovely assistant, Kamara Owens, is going to come up here, and she's going to help me out with that. And you'll find that all of these things fall under the club, right? So the club is responsible for delivering all of these things. This slide is available on Toastmasters.org or whatever it is. So moments of truth. About half of you said, yeah, I've heard of that. First of all, why is it important? Because 70% of people leave an organization, Toastmasters or otherwise, because they don't feel like their needs are met or they feel like people might not care about their needs. For instance, how many of us have had guests show up to meetings never to be seen again? Probably most of us, right? Why? Well, in some cases, Toastmasters might not be for that person. But in other cases, maybe they could have been into Toastmasters, but we didn't take their needs into account. Or if we thought about it, we didn't express it. And so their perception, or their perspective was that their needs were not met. That's why we need to take moments of truth seriously. It's how we meet members' needs. We just talked about that. So a moment of truth, let's define this, is any time a guest, or even members, come into contact with Toastmasters anything. So if I meet Josh on the street, Josh and I are good buddies, but if we didn't know each other, if I met Josh and he was like, hey, I'm a Toastmaster, he's now representing Toastmasters, isn't he? So what if Josh is ultra professional knows what he's talking about, can answer my questions. What does that look like?
It's like a sharp product.
A sharp product, right? Man, Toastmasters delivers. I want to be like Josh. Isaac, what if Josh was rude and standoffish and turned his nose up at me? He would never do that. But what if he did?
I'm getting at
Right, that's my impression of Toastmasters. Right? That's not even a meeting. Let's say I show up to a meeting. The room is set up because the sergeant of arms is sharp. The meeting starts on time. People aren't scrambling to fill roles. Terry, what does that look like? Looks good, right? Absolutely, absolutely. Abby, if I show up and, there might be 2 people in the room, or maybe it's not organized, maybe I have to get my own chair because it's not set up. How does that look? Not professional at all, right? Thank you for using that word. Because Toastmasters, one of the main attractions to Toastmasters is that it's a professional organization. And that's what we try to deliver, we strive to deliver as officers, and maintain that professionalism. So Kamara, where are you? Come on up, man. Ladies and gentlemen, Kamara Owens. Give her a round of applause. Kamara is the president of St. Elizabeth's Toastmasters, and without her help and the help of her club, we would not be able to have this meeting here today. So we certainly thank her for that. Give her a round of applause. And you might say that Kamara traveled uphill in the snow both ways to get here today. She went through a little bit of adversity, so thanks for soldiering on there. So moments of truth, these are the actual moments of truth. We define moments of truth as these are things that occur when members or prospective members interact with Toastmasters. These are the actual moments of truth. So first impressions, overhead question, what do you think a first impression is? What does that look like?
Friendliness and organization.
Friendliness and organization, I love that. Friendliness, right? Because we expect that prospective members, guests are greeted as soon as they come in the room. Friendliness. Organization, the meeting is set up, started on time, you have a squared away agenda, you're not running behind. Excellent. Anybody else for first impressions?
Openness and preparation.
Openness and preparation. Dig it. Thank you, Josh. What does openness mean to you?
To be accepting of people and being able to express what Toastmasters does and talk to their concerns.
Absolutely. Open to people, right? Valerie and I were chatting this morning. One of the great things about Toastmasters, I think any club, is the diversity. Toastmasters is a very diverse organization. It is a global organization, if you didn't know. But one of the things I'm most proud of in my club, I'm on an Air Force base. It's where my club meets. We have military people. We also have government and civilian contractors. We have spouses. We have government civil service employees. The diversity is where our strength comes in. In fact, Valerie and I may make an argument that it's our diversity that allows us to succeed, often in spite of Toastmasters International. Sometimes they can shoot themselves in the own foot. We can talk about that later. Anyway, so membership orientation, what does that mean? Go ahead, Valerie.
It would be what types of things you're doing to welcome members when they first show up as a guest, to when they join, and making sure that that whole process is welcoming and provides them with materials they need.
Excellent, thank you. So basically, if we get a guest, we need to orient them. What does it mean to be in Toastmasters? What does it mean to be a Toastmaster? When we're talking about club officer roles today, who do you think, who does that fit?
Us. the
Us.
officers.
All of us. Do we have a specific role to handle this? Membership, but Josh, that's an excellent point. It's everyone's job, but specifically Vice President of Membership. Program planning and meeting organization. How about this side of the room? Jerry, talk to me about program planning and meeting organization.
Well, being prepared is a big thing. It makes us look good, being professional.
You might say that preparedness is the foundation of professionalism, right? I think that's fair. Does anybody else have anything to add?
Having an agenda.
Having an agenda. Absolutely. Absolutely. This is what we're going to talk about today. What was my first slide that we talked about? It was the agenda. This is why you are here and what you can expect to get out of the time that you're sharing with me here today. Absolutely. What would it look like, Kat, if I showed up here and just started talking? And we didn't talk about what you can expect out of today. What does that look like?
It looks like a lot of people who are lost.
Lost. Herding cats, right? Ever heard that expression? Herding cats? Absolutely. We're trying to stay streamlined. And Jerry, to your point, we're trying to plan and display some professionalism. Membership strength. Membership strength. Can someone speak to that? RJ, what does membership strength mean?
Means the total numbers of your club, in most cases, or in TI, Toastmasters itself.
Why do you think that that's a moment of truth?
Why do I think it's a moment of
You or anybody?
I would just think, my 2 cents worth is that your membership strength represents how strong your club is, or how strong Toastmasters is, and what it's putting out and how much people believe in it.
Absolutely. Every club faces membership challenges sometimes. In fact, if you've been in Toastmasters long enough, you can probably appreciate that there's what I call a pendulum. You got a strong club with a lot of members, and then sometimes it swings over here where we've got some turnover, maybe some attrition, but then eventually that pendulum will swing back again. On which end of the spectrum do you think the club looks more professional? Which club would you rather take a guess to?
More.
What?
And the members are more.
Where the members are more, absolutely. It's a better look, right? So you got a club with a lot of members. Why do you have a club with a lot of members? Because you're prepared. You program well. What allows you to program well? Organization, fellowship, communication. So all these things fit together. These are not just do this and then you'll be successful. This is the next step. That's not the case. We're talking about synergistic effects. All right, officer roles. Kamara, thank you. First of all, Kamara, can you walk us through what are our key words here?
We have, first word is friendly for our first impressions. Second thing we have, you want me to keep going?
Yeah.
Okay. Second thing we have is organization, how well we're organized and prepared, which is one of the other ones, preparation, what we put into it for the agendas, and openness. Don't look at my spelling if it's incorrect, I apologize. Openness, just that we are, I think that means, we're greeting, we're welcome, we're friendly, that we're glad they're here.
Excellent. And preparation. And one of the things that we didn't get to on that last slide was recognition. In fact, RJ is going to hook us up with some recognition at the end of this. Kamar, ladies and gentlemen, give Kamar a hand. Thank you. So Kamara didn't know I was going to have her come up here, write on an easel, and then present what she just wrote. Where do you think she got those skills? Boom! Table topics, baby! I like it. So, executive committee. That's why we're here today, right? To learn about each of these positions. This is my visual aid. This is the Toastmasters Club. This is going to make a lot of sense as we go along. But this is the Toastmasters Club. So in regards to the executive committee, who do you think has the most important role, or specifically which duties do you suppose are the most important? All of them. Okay, cool. Let's get serious here. Yes, you're right. All of them. Both play ball with me. I obviously have a visual aid that I need to stick with, so. So give me an idea of some roles you think would be very important.
Sergeant at Arms.
Sergeant at Arms, why?
Because if you don't have a place that's set up to participate, then you don't have a Toastmasters program.
Exactly, right? And so Josh knows where I'm going. So a Sergeant of Arms. Without a Sergeant of Arms, you don't know where you're at. You don't have a place to be. The first rule in business, the first rule in the military, or the first question rather, is where am I? If you don't know where you're at, you can't go anywhere. If you don't have a place to be, you can't possibly know where you're at. Sergeant of Arms. Who's next?
Education?
Education? Education is very important. We'll get to that. Here's a hint.
That we call our, it's a hint. Yeah, you do education.
Here's a hint. There are two things in this world that will destroy a career or a family faster than anything. What are they? Money! What's the other one? The other one is sex. We don't do sex in Toastmasters. So treasurer. Treasurers, the duties of the treasurer are very important. Right? Because we're dealing with not just money, we're dealing with other people's money. And we're representing Toastmasters while we're doing it. So who has a checking account? Whose club has a checking account? Who handles other people's money? Who wants to go to jail for handling other people's money or mishandling? right? Who wants their club to be shut down because you misappropriated funds? So that's my case for the treasurer is the next, or the treasurer's role, duties are the next most important. I flipped this on my head from what Toastmasters International teaches. Third is the secretary. Why do you think I got the secretary on here as third?
Keep records.
Keep records. Why? If it wasn't documented, it didn't happen. That's what we say in the Air Force. If it wasn't documented, it didn't happen. Who's done a club success plan? Who documented it? What would happen if you did a club success plan, you talked about it, but you didn't write anything down?
You don't have it.
You don't have it. So then what? What else don't you have? Well, if you're working on your advanced leader bronze, you don't have any proof that you did a club success plan and you were not eligible for an advanced leader bronze. If you're working on a club success plan and you don't keep track of it, you're going to have a challenging time figuring out where you're at. We already talked about that's the first question in business and in war is where am I? So the secretary is the one that anchors these things, that anchors the documentation to prove that we've done what we've said we've done. RJ and I had a conversation a while ago, and I made the case, young, ambitious and things. I said, you don't need a secretary. Who needs meeting minutes? What good are meeting minutes? Anybody?
It's history.
That's it. It's history. So I made the mistake as a young president. I said, we don't need meeting minutes. So I failed as a leader because I robbed somebody of an opportunity to practice their professional skills, as in this case as a secretary. So that was my mistake, and I learned from that mistake after a conversation with RJ. And it's more than just meeting minutes, right? So it's recording meeting minutes. It's showing people, we talk about moments of truth. This is what you can expect from a Toastmasters meeting. This is what the minutes look like. So it's an element of professionalism, and we are a professional organization. Ma'am.
I have something to add that a lot of people don't realize, that the secretary also has a vote at the International Convention. And if you can go in person and vote, or you can assign the proxy, you or the president can open up to you on the club business, and you can assign that proxy to the district director or whoever you want to go to. So a lot of people don't know the secretary is also involved in that.
Absolutely, Kat. Thank you so much for that. And so on those votes, who noticed that club dues went up in 2016? Or membership dues, rather. Do you know who voted on that? Your club presidents and club secretaries. Okay? So great, excellent point, Kat. Next is the Vice President of Public Relations. Does this start to make sense? All right, for my visual learners out there, I don't remember Alexis, I did something similar with my club on Tuesday. So Vice President of Public Relations. Why is the Vice President of Public Relations important?
Pull people in.
Pull people in. Here's your job. If you're the Vice President of Public Relations, you touch everybody that's not in Toastmasters already. How many people is that? That's everybody you meet that's not in Toastmasters. Wow. Suddenly that job just got huge, right? So we're going to talk about it. What's next? All right, over here.
Education.
Boom! No, I lied, sorry. I got myself. My bad. Vice President of Membership. I'm excited. I was thinking of it. I need to get you back in. Next time. Vice President of Membership. Here we are. Josh, you're the Vice President of Membership for Scott Air Force Base Toastmasters.
I am.
What's important about membership?
It's important to bring people in so we have club strengths as mentioned.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So if the Vice President of Public Relations influences or impacts everybody that's not already in Toastmasters, what do you think the Vice President of Membership? Everyone in Toastmasters. That's a relationship that needs to work together, right? In order to build our clubs, in order to make sure that we have plenty of people. Okay.
Are you sure?
Positive now. What's next?
Education.
Boom! There it is. All right, education. Vice President of Education. Now I've got a slide up here that I'm pretty proud of that's coming up later that we're going to talk about this, but what do you think the Vice President of Education is important for?
Well, it gets back to someone that's going to do the agenda, make sure that all the roles are filled. Any new people that potentially come into the organization are on schedule to do their speeches.
So they understand the education process, right?
Yeah.
And things you were talking about, you're talking to new people, right? Well, so does the Vice President of Membership. Why do you think that is? Because you guys work together! Yeah. Pam, do you have a question?
No, just more to the VPN.
Oh, please.
You give people their rewards. You give them their reason for coming back.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We talked about recognition briefly, right? And RJ's going to do some recognition at the end of this. That's exactly what you're talking about. Show people will work. They will do the work of Toastmasters, but they won't come back unless they're recognized appropriately. Right? So I think that's an excellent point. What's next? The president. Wait a minute. I'm not done with my pyramid though. Okay, let's talk about the president. Why do you think the president, why did I choose to have the president be represented by the smallest donut on my daughter's stacking toy? I mean, the president's at the top, right? Why are they the smallest donut at the top?
Because they just facilitate bottom support, the top supports the bottom.
Top supports the bottom. What else? Were you gonna say something, Kat?
No, I was just saying that was good.
It was good. It was, yes, it was. The top supports the bottom. What about this? The president holds everything together. The president is absolutely a figurehead. The president has deciding votes, but what the president is not is a commander, right? The president is not a dictator. The president does not decide how things go. Everybody does that collectively, right? Can you have a meeting without a president present? Yes. Can you have a meeting if the sergeant of arms does not set up your room? No. Can you have a meeting if your club was dissolved because your finances were handled inappropriately?
No.
Can you have a meeting if you don't have people show up to the meeting? Huh. Can you have a meeting if people show up but don't turn into members? You can, but it's not successful, right? You said you're not going to have any prepared speeches, right? There's no, your structure dissolves. Can you have a meeting if people aren't working towards education goals?
You can, but it's starting to get harder and harder.
It is, right? It is, right? Because you're not working towards your competent leader filling meeting roles. You're not working towards your competent leader doing table topics, preparing table topics. Did you know that you have to be, you can get a competent leader assignment signed off for speaking? That's one of the tasks in there. So you can have a meeting with, well, it's difficult to have a meeting without any of these things. But if these people show up and the president doesn't show up, then what? Yeah, you got a meeting, someone fills in, right? My point here is that all of the club officers are important, but there's something that's more important than any one of these officers. What do you think that is? Huh? Members! Boom! Without members, none of these officers matter. All right? Officers are members too. But without members, without taking care of the members, the duties of these officers, they don't matter. And we need to remember that as officers. We've been elected to shepherd the club and to be stewards of not just the club, but our members' time, right? Because they're counting on us to deliver the Toastmasters mission that we talked about. And that's our job. So president's important. All of the officers are important. They have jobs to do. But it's the members. That's why we're here. So, talked about Sergeant of Arms. Do we have any Sergeant of Arms in the room? 2 of them. Right on. So, what do you do? What makes you successful as a Sergeant of Arms? First of all, introduce yourself to the room, please.
Sorry, my name's Karen Turner. So, as a sergeant at arms, you have the responsibility of establishing a good structure and foundation, and ensuring that every member is aware of what that foundation is, so that things run smoothly, is organized, and you're prepared.
Absolutely. With preparedness, right? When Jerry, we talked about preparedness is hand in hand with professionalism. Karen, thank you so much. How about it, Terry? You got anything to add?
No, I think that my role, I try to set the order. I try and make sure that I'm there on time, have everything set up on time, so when the time comes for us to meet, you know, it's ordered.
Absolutely. You know, we have a saying in the Air Force that I learned when I was very young, that early is on time is late.
Yeah.
Late is not acceptable. You guys heard that? That's what Terry's talking about.
That's me.
That's it, man. Show up on time. Yeah, Terry showed up here about 8 o'clock this morning, in case you didn't know. Yeah, helped us set up even. Nice guy, Terry. Thanks. So we talked about the roles, or we talked about some successful stories of Sergeant of Arms. Who has been in a club where maybe there's been room for improvement? Maybe you didn't have an assigned Sergeant of Arms, and so you had to distribute the duties among other officers. What is that like? Can someone speak to that?
Well, what if the sergeant at arms, something happened, family, they can't show up?
Right.
It just seems like it's chaos. The meeting, because that person's kind of the one that starts the meeting, he gets to start it correctly. Absolutely. He's off to a good start, and that person doesn't show up, it just seems like the whole meeting is just thrown off.
Absolutely, and I can't finish my pyramid stack right here without that Sergeant of Arms at the very first brick. So that's an excellent point. Excellent point. So we talked about this is what you can expect of the Sergeant of Arms. I didn't read the slide to you because I think Karen and Terry summed it up very nicely. how do the duties of the Sergeant of Arms apply outside of Toastmasters? Because we don't come to Toastmasters just to be Toastmasters. We come to Toastmasters to improve ourselves. That's one of the first things we talked about. So how do these skills apply outside? I don't know, Jerry, what do you think?
It applies in everything you do. It's your role in life to be prepared and.
Prepared and organized, absolutely. Karen, great point. What do you think, Jerry?
She stole my thunder.
Make you thunder, baby.
No, that's cool though, but yeah, so it ends up being, I have a large family, prepared and organized is huge. If you don't start off on the right foot, the whole day is a mess. The whole project, whatever you're doing, becomes a mess. So it's transferable in everything that you want to delve into.
Absolutely.
Oh, most definitely. I can give an example. I was not organized or prepared because I didn't do the dishes this morning, so I couldn't do breakfast, which made me go to Jack-in-the-Box. Now I kind of hate who I am because I feel a little crazy. I was late.
Thank you, everybody, for that input. Right on. So, treasurer, let's stay out of jail. Who's the treasurer here, or who's a prospective treasurer, right? I got a handful of treasurers. Abby, let's go over here. Let's start over here. What makes you good at being a treasurer? What do you focus when you're being a treasurer? I know you have other roles too, but...
You have to have an integrity in what you do. You have to make sure that you are trustworthy with people handing you their money, and also to be honorable in your position to keep the club going in an honorable fashion.
Absolutely, absolutely. Other people's money. What about over here? Amber, I see. I'll get to you. What does being a treasurer mean to you?
I need to be very honest and very detail-oriented, and I need to handle money very properly, even though it may not be a huge amount.
Right. But you get to, because it's not a huge amount, you can spend it however you want, right?
Yes, but I
No.
I cannot spend. I need to be careful with every penny,
Absolutely.
and I should make sure the record is correct.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Amber, what do you got?
The other members are relying on me to do my job, so if Josh pays his dues and I don't turn it in on time, maybe he would have been the next winner of the speech club, but I just ruined that for him.
Absolutely.
So I want to make sure everyone.
Absolutely, because you got to be a member. You have to be a member in good standing to do what? To be an officer, to participate in speech contests. You rob him of an opportunity if you don't take care of your duties. But I know that everyone here, all of our treasurers are very professional and very secure with handling other people's money. So thank you all for those inputs. So what do those skills look like outside, right? Because we're using our Toastmaster skills in our professional lives, and maybe in some cases our personal lives. I know in my club we've got some younger members, 18, 19-year-old kids. But you think that it might behoove them to learn some financial lessons, some financial skills? You bet. You bet. There's nothing worse than on base on Friday, Saturday afternoon, seeing a 19-year-old kid doing his banking at the ATM. That's the only thing he knows, right? So can we use Toastmaster skills to help them out in life? Absolutely, you bet. So managing other people's money, budgeting. You know, you said it right here. What was your name, ma'am? Vina. So Vina said, she made a great point, it's not a lot of money. No, it's not. But because it's not a lot of money, we need to be extra careful with it and make sure that every single dollar counts, right? And that's where budgeting comes in. Accurate records. We talked about nobody wants their clubs dissolved for tax fraud, right? or for criminal actions or anything like that. And then dispersing funds. Now this is important because on one of the first slides we had a little blurb on there about communication. We just talked about it. The treasurer can't just go write checks. Hey, I think it'd be great to have this. Or even if you have a gift certificate for Toastmasters International. Who has gift certificates for Toastmasters International? You guys seen those, right? You just spend it however you want. No, give that to the treasurer. And the treasurer will spend it according to the club's wishes, right? The executive council. So I talked about the secretary and how, the secretary, we don't need meeting minutes. Then I was wrong, right? Why was I wrong? Let's talk about that. Who are the secretaries in here, or prospective secretaries? Maybe I wasn't that wrong. Lance, tell me about secretary, man.
I consider the secretary the most important office in the club.
Excellent. Why?
My belief is if it isn't recorded in the minutes and verified by the membership, it did not happen.
What was the first thing we said about secretaries? If it wasn't documented, it didn't happen. Lance made my point for me. One thing I'd point out too is Lance and I apparently have a disagreement. I say that the Sergeant of Arms is the most important. Lance says the secretary is the most important. Who's right? Both of us. Who's wrong? Neither of us, right? Toastmasters is a safe place, and that's fine. So Lance, thank you for the differing opinion. I appreciate it, and I do appreciate that perspective. So manage the records and the files. Unfortunately, there are no secretaries here today, or is it? Because we're going to do a club success plan the second half of the meeting. Guess what? You get to be the secretaries. And it's an opportunity for you to learn new skills, right? That maybe you haven't practiced, or maybe you've been a secretary before. We're going to bring those dormant skills out, and we're going to put them to use today. We're going to sharpen your secretary ass. So how does secretary skills apply to work? Amber?
Well, it helps you pay attention and be an active listener.
Absolutely. Anybody else?
Yeah.
How can we apply secretary skills?
They make you more detailed.
Detail oriented. I like that. I like that one. That's a good answer. I know. The reason I'm not the secretary is because I'm not very detail oriented. I let other people more interested people handle the details. I'm like, let's go get it! And they're like, hold on, man, hold on, slow down, fellas. We got to pay the bills, we got to get members, we got to document everything. I'm like, okay, you're right. So, and that's why I'm the smallest donut. Get it? And that's why the secretary is much larger than I am. Jerry, do you have something over here?
I was just going to say, it goes back to your question or statement of where am I? Because if we don't have the track record of where we were, we don't know where we're going. So that's very important to see where we're lacking. Perhaps gives us a focus to look forward to what's to come.
Absolutely. The secretary is the gatekeeper. So, sir.
Yeah, and I'll say I have an example of I'm a horrible note taker, and I constantly battle at my work forgetting what happened in a meeting, what happened, whatever it might be, just because of not being able to take good notes.
Right. So we said that if it wasn't documented, it didn't happen. If it was documented poorly, it happened poorly. How's that? Does that fit? RJ, what you got?
I think that one down toward the bottom is probably one of the most important ones, time management. I don't know who doesn't deal with that.
I know it, right? Absolutely. Absolutely. So let me give you an anecdote on secretaries. I work for the AMC Director of Safety, so Scott Air Force Base, the guy that's in charge of safety for all of the overseas bases, right? He's my boss's boss's boss, right? Who is the most important person where I work? Is it him? He's a colonel? You think it's the colonel? Is he the most important person? No, man, he's up here. Who's way more important than him? His secretary. Why?
Because she's the gatekeeper.
The gatekeeper.
Who gets access.
Absolutely. The secretary controls access, and in many cases can control communication, and she'll work very closely with your vice president of public relations. What? All right. So, any vice presidents of public relations in here? Tim, what's your role, brother?
Public relations, advertise, marketing, get the word out, bring the people in.
How do you do that?
It would be simply by having membership campaigns, helping coordinate that with the other officers, membership campaigns, doing something that people is memorable, something like slogans, develop slogans, something people can retain.
Excellent.
And work with.
The website?
Website management also.
Absolutely. If you guys don't know, Tim is also from the district. He's the webmaster. He handles all of the district aid.
He's the administration manager.
Oh, sorry, administration manager. RJ.
He's also past district governor,
Yeah.
district director.
So Tim is a pretty big wheel in the cracker factory, all right? Tim, thanks for that input. So all of you come from different clubs, and I'll bet you all have different ways of reaching out to the public. So I want to hear about it. Valerie, what does Collinsville do? How do you guys get the word out about Toastmasters?
Our VP of PR has created business cards for everybody, all the officers, and she created generic ones as a Toastmaster club that has our meeting schedule on it.
Nice.
And on the back side of it, it's an invitation opportunity that says, come see me speak. So she uses it, and others can use it to give to their boss or to someone else that they want to specifically invite to a specific meeting, and hopefully then get them to join.
And the business card idea is great because how do you give somebody a business card? Do you email it to them? Face to face. There you go. Terry, here's my business card. I'll look forward to seeing you in my meeting. That's a lot more meaningful than overhead stuff, but overhead stuff is important. How does O'Fallon Toastmasters get the word out? I don't remember your name.
Oh, pardon me, I'm sorry. What was the question?
What's your name?
Deborah.
Deborah. How does O'Fallon Toastmasters get the word out?
Well, we have, what we do is we have communities like in O'Fallon, we use the media, we have a weekly magazine we publish
initiative. I don't have all the sites, but there are certain advertisements and things that we do about Toastmasters. Like I mentioned earlier, like Bill Brown Weekly, and advertising magazines and City Talk, we host shows on that cable TV program.
Cable TV.
And those are just a few of the things that we do to get the word out.
Excellent, thank you so much. You know, one of the things we heard, some of the things you heard over here were advertising, cable television. That sounds expensive. I don't think there's money involved with that. I think we have treasurers, right? Nice. But let me hear from one more person about Vice President of Public Relations and getting the word out about Toastmasters. Josh, we got it.
I'm a throwback, and it's about face-to-face communications. If I go out with you and I'm not a Toastmaster, and I see how passionate you are about it, it's going to pique my interest.
Yeah.
So being a throwback, just doing face-to-face and coming across as a sharp speaker,
Right.
I think will pull in more people than some clandestine advertisement that no one has the time to read because we snack by it today.
So, yeah, so how about some good firm handshake and some eye contact?
Exactly.
I like it. RJ.
Real quick, just going back to what you said earlier, I think they paint the picture, the image of your club or Toastmasters in general, what they put out.
Absolutely. That paints the picture of the club. When we talked about handing business cards, your Vice President of Public Relations is a walking business card, or should be a walking business card for your club. Transferable skills. Marketing. Marketing, marketing, marketing. Did you know that one of the hottest trends in entrepreneurialism, help, thank you guys, I got a few of you, is actually internet marketing? Yeah, weird, right? How about this? Toastmasters provides education in internet marketing. Did you know that? You know how much you pay? $45 every 6 months to be a member. What? So, Vice President of Membership. What do they do? Who's our Vice President of Memberships in here? I already pointed out Josh. Yeah! Boom! Let's get back over here. Ma'am, what's your name? Becky. Becky, what are you with?
Sorry, I had to think. Toast of Food in St. Louis and Fairview Heights Toastmasters in Illinois.
Nice. Dual member status right here. So that's great. So you got a couple of different perspectives. Why don't you share with us some of the similarities and also some of the differences that you have?
Well, the club that I belong to in St. Louis is a corporate club, so our membership recruitment is very limited. It's limited to the people who are employees of the university. So we are go about that a little bit differently. We push more of the professional development aspect of Toastmasters with the corporate club. The one in Fairview Heights is more of a community of friends rather than a corporate professional development club.
So you got some different flavors there, right? So what does the membership look like in the community of friends? What happens if I show up and I'm interested in Toastmasters?
Well, great. We're happy to have you. Come on in.
Excellent, excellent. And then what if I'm a new employee at the company where your corporate club is? What does that process look like?
We do outreach through our university newsletter, so we tell people about that. We're not allowed to post a lot of things in the building, so there are a few bulletin boards that we get to. We do a speech program on Employee Day where we have the best speakers. There's currently two clubs on the university campus, and we're working on a third, where the best speakers from those clubs present on staff day and are voted on as to which is the best speaker. Those awards are presented by the chancellor at the end of staff day. So we have a large university presence in our Toastmasters organizations.
I like that. I like that a lot. Does anybody else have anything to add? Tim?
Sometimes if a company approves, they can include a Toastmaster brochure in the new employee orientation package.
Absolutely.
So when they come in, they actually see it.
Right. So Tim is a consummate professional. If the company he said if the company approves, I think maybe you agree with that. Here's how I roll. It's easier to beg for forgiveness than ask for permission. Let's think of it. All right. So transferable skills. Josh is Vice President of Membership.
Yeah.
How can that help people professionally?
It can help you professionally by working with teams. I work with teams a lot in my professional endeavors and being able to hear other people's issues and concerns. I can address them directly.
So it improves your communication skills.
Absolutely.
Confidence to meet new people. Why do you think that's on this slide? Amber, why do you think it's important why do you think you learn confidence to meet new people as Vice President of Membership?
kind of opens you up and gives you the confidence to initiate conversations and get them on board when you can motivate somebody into something that you believe in.
Right.
That's-
So Amber, you work for a nonprofit, right? How do you think that type of confidence can benefit you in your professional life?
Every single day of my work.
Give me a specific example.
Well, I have a Rotary Club presentation coming up, and I need to be professional, I need to be well-spoken to deliver my ideas and what we're going after, so people can jump on board with my nonprofit.
Bingo, right? So the Vice President of Public Relations brings folks in. The Vice President of Membership knocks them down, right? And so now we got the Vice President of Education. Who's our VPs in here? Here, just take it. Just take it.
That's all right.
So Vice President of Education, I have encourages members, right? I have that in quotation marks, and I got a slide. I'm going to prove it. They encourage. So, ma'am, what's your name in the back? You.
Me? My name is Carolyn Riddle. I'm from Touche Toastmasters.
So Carol from Touche.
Yes.
I like it. So you and Terry know each other.
Yes, we do.
Right on. So Carol, what does the Vice President of Education look like to your club?
Well, your folks are very good, encourages. What my son called me is the hype man.
The hype man, I like it. Flavor Flav!
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think Vice President of Education, we serve as the person to help the membership look at the goals and skills that you are obtaining and encouraging them to go after them and to achieve.
Absolutely, and to explain the process too, right?
It's like-
You got to do this. Why? Well, there's a process. What does it look like? The Vice President of Education should be sharing that. Tim, yet? Oh, you're going with camera. How about for this side of the room? What does the Vice President of Education look like to your club? How about O'Fallon?
Well, plan out 6 weeks of meetings in advance and just send it out to all the members saying, hey, so what's up? Can you do it?
Absolutely. I don't know if you heard over here, plan 6 weeks in advance. So my club, Sky Air Force Base Toastmasters, we don't know who's going to be here next week, right? So that's a tall order for us. I can tell you, I have visited O'Fallon Toastmasters, and that is a sharp club. That is a sharp, sharp club. They handed me the roster, and I saw it for 6 weeks in advance. They have the timer, right? Because the Vice President of Education is making sure people are filling roles to knock out education requirements. So they got their timer, their grammarian, their word master. They've got their speeches, they've got their evaluators lined up. That's the Vice President of Education pulling all of those strings to make sure that people are hitting the benchmarks that Toastmasters have set for them. Kat, what do you have, man?
Well, Timothy is our VPE in Little Hills Toastmasters, and he tracks where everybody is in their speeches, and then he lets them know how far they need to go to get to their next goal.
Right.
So their next designation. So
He is a big wheel.
he keeps them on point. So they say, well, if you do this, you'll get this, and that encourages them to step up and do it.
Thanks, Kat. So one of the things that Kat said is Tim, the Vice President of Education, he tracks their progress too. He doesn't just set it up, but he tracks it, and that is a requirement. So how do you guys track? Or how do your Vice Presidents of Education track your members' progress? How about it?
She keeps, everybody has an individual sheet. And if they are like working on their CC, or she keeps track of all of the speeches.
Right, because there's 10 speeches. Right.
And their leadership also. So she keeps track of it on her.
So they've got hard sheets, right? So papers. Is anybody doing anything different? How about it?
Well, what we have poster boards with everyone's names in the little roster, and we bring those to every meeting and just put in dates and times of things that you're talking, especially with your leadership projects, dates those are accomplished, and then with your speeches,
So everybody can see where everybody else is at, right? For the visual folks, we have an Excel spreadsheet because we have a lot of turnover, and so a large poster board and the papers for us add up. That's just the nature of our club. Each club is different, so our Excel spreadsheet, it takes up less space. And we have room for that on our Facebook group, which I'll show later. So VPE transferable skills. You're encouraging people, we said in quotation marks, motivate others, set and achieve goals. I don't know. How do you think being Steve? Yes, yeah. I got you, dog. So Steve, how do you think that the Vice President of Education skills can translate into professional success outside?
Wow, you communicate with people all the time. It doesn't matter what your role is. That education skill is transferable to whatever you do. I don't know if I got a real good answer.
No, nailed it. Education, man. So if you guys don't know Steve is a newer Toastmaster. Are you a member now?
I'm not a member.
Now, look at this. We have a guest showing up, officer training. Dig it. So I happened to be at the meeting where Steve did his very first table topics. And Steve got up and explained, the topic was, discuss a dystopian society in line with Aldous Huxley's Brave New World. Right? That's Steve's first ever meeting. You know what he did? He got up here and he knocked that thing out of the park. Boom! I'm sold! Steve, great job. Thanks for your input. So then with the president, the smallest donut, but the top donut, the smallest donut. Who are the presidents in here? Oh, yeah, a few of us. Tim, really? You guys didn't see Tim raise his hand.
I belong to a couple clubs.
Maybe the two of you can share the clicker and just run this thing. You guys are sharp. I like that. See, that's one of the things I like having everybody get together, because you get all of the experience together, and clearly we've had some great inputs from everybody so far. So, ensures executive officers are functioning well. Where does it say that the president is in charge? I don't see it there. Where does it say that the president commands? Nope. Nope, it doesn't say that. It says, ensures the officers are functioning. How do you think that happens? How does the successful president ensure all of the cogs are working together?
Works with his cadre.
What? You communicate a little bit, right? You gotta talk to them. How does that happen? What does that look like? What is this successful? Communication. What does communication between officers look like?
Officers meetings held regularly.
Boom, officers. So how regular are your officers meetings in Touche?
Not Touche, but once a month.
At your corporate club?
At the corporate club and at the Fairview Heights.
Fairview Heights, I'm sorry. Fairview Heights, my fault. Yeah, so we were doing them once a month. And then for my club at Scott Air Force Base. And then we did, every week we would meet afterwards to work towards our club success plan. And now that has been complete, we're going to go back to once a month. But, what does it look like for you?
We meet every week after our education session and discuss how things are going.
Right.
Everybody gives their report.
Right on, so weekly, monthly, whatever works for you, whatever keeps people communicating. Does anybody communicate via email or Facebook or anything? Show of hands. About half the room. Right on, it's 2017, folks. Get after it. Get on your Facebook groups. And so the president, and this was something that I've wrestled with my area director on this. The president focuses the club on distinguished club status. Here's the controversy. How does that happen? What does that look like? Do you focus on getting a distinguished club at all costs? Or do you focus on the members and it takes care of itself? I don't know. So really it's kind of an ethical question, right? Because you're looking at kind of utilitarian ethics where the ends justifies the means. Distinguished club, and then everything falls into place underneath that. Or take care of the members, kind of a more Organic, thank you. That's probably a more friendly word than I was going to use. So more organic, take care of the members and everything falls in place that way. That's how I kind of see things, and hopefully you guys do too, but we can talk about it afterwards. But the point is, if you take care of people, take care of people, they take care of everything, right? And provide supportive, helpful leadership. Does that say commandeering? Does that say tyrannical? No. The president is not the end all be all for your club. Sir?
I don't know how it's in everybody else's club, but Val is our president, and I want to see she's the kind of the glue that holds us together. I know it's not really a good analogy compared to your top donut.
It's a different analogy.
But
it's fine.
It's the glue. The
Right.
president serves as the glue.
Right, so Valerie, you're the president. What happens if your vice president membership isn't there, but you have guests?
And then, that's him. He has provided the materials that we keep with the sergeant at arms. If they're not there, we have the guest packet that we can hand to them, and then the other officers or other members will step in and greet them and explain things to them at the
Right.
and things like that.
So as the president, what I heard you say was you know everybody's role, and you know who's going to backfill other officers' roles. Is that right? Bingo. Anybody else have anything to add on this? Oh, so I'm going to foot stomp this one more time. The club does not revolve around your president. Thank you. So as the president, You get to guide, you don't get to command, you get to guide the club, the direction of the club. You set the tone for the club, the pace for the club. How do you think that translates into our professional relationships and professional lives? Tim, what do you think?
Well, any skills you learn that are, especially from an organizational standpoint, if you're interested in advancing your career, the things that you're going to learn here locally, you're putting into practice, really makes a big difference. As far as it's not just reading in a book like you were saying earlier. So I really think that's important.
Thanks, Tim.
Yep.
Hey, Lance. You've been in Toastmasters for a long time. What do successful traits of presidents look like?
A president, a successful president is an individual that's committed to the program, that is going to be there if at all possible. A legitimate excuse for a president not to be there is he's in a casket. He's the individual that sets the tone for the club. He ties everything together. He doesn't do it all. He just ties it all together.
Absolutely.
And he's that light on the hill that hopefully everybody's looking forward to and aspiring towards.
Yep, the light on the hill. I like it. RJ, what do you have, sir?
Just real quick and add a little bit of humor in there. If you look at that transferable skills, what you learn in Toastmasters, you can apply. Every one of us in this room, I'm sure, has kids. And don't tell me you can't experience leadership, lead teams, meet goals, and coach.
Right? Get out of the house on time, right?
Whose kids do you have?
Absolutely. So let's hear from somebody that's, oh, man, Vina, what do
He's
you have?
like a grandfather, wise man for the club.
The wise man for the club. Yes, yes. That's awesome. I know I fall woefully short of that personally, but yes, they should be. It's something to aspire to be. I'm a fan. So, we're going to take a break here shortly. But the executive duties, right? So if you're any one of these positions that we just discussed, this is what is expected of you by Toastmasters and also from your members. Create the club budget, do the success plan, focus on members to achieve distinguished club, and then oversee club committees as necessary. So when we come back from our break, we're going to develop a club success plan. I've got it printed out. We're going to get started. We're not going to do the whole thing, but I am going to get you started. We'll talk more about that. And we're going to show you how the club success plan sets you up and your members up to achieve distinguished club. Right? So let's take 5. If you need restrooms or around the corner, you go out, make a right through the ADA accessible doors. And then I'll be sticking around if anybody has questions, comments, concerns. 5 minutes, folks, so come back at 10:10, please.